Hello and welcome. I'm Les Bubka, and you're listening to Accidental Podcast or something like that. My today's guest is Johnston, founder of Adaptive Karate, propagator of working with disability and supporter of people with different abilities. Personally, I love John's work and I'm following him and try to learn from him as much as I can. So I'm super chuffed that we've got him today on my podcast. How are you, John?
I'm good. I'm fine. Yeah.
So starting, I always ask the same question to people. Could you just tell us something about yourself? I know you're one of the first people who started karate in UK. You're the propagator of everything and instigator of everything. Could you tell us something about yourself?
I wouldn't say that, but yeah, I'm coming up to nearly 50 years in karate, definitely 50 years in martial arts, because I did a couple of other things before I started karate, you know, a little bit of boxing, a little bit of judo, not very much, but a little bit. So, yeah, I've been going some time now, yeah.
Yeah, wealth of knowledge. But you also had a background in being how we call it, a bouncer and standing on the doors in a kind of violent environment, isn't it? From what you told me before.
Well, it is, yeah. Especially Coventry was quite a violent city. I think it came down to the fact that people had a lot of money in those days due to the car factories in Coventry, and you know, even a Monday night was a busy night. Where, you know, most nightclubs only open at the weekend, but we were open 6 nights a week. You couldn't open on a Sunday because of the licensing laws in those days.
So, so what made you think one day you woke up and you said, "Yes, I'm gonna stick with that Japanese thing, karate, and I'm gonna do that instead of boxing or judo"?
Well, when I actually started it, I mean, it was, of course, it was the Bruce Lee era, and everybody was doing something along those lines. You know, the club that I was with, it was open it was open 3 nights a week, and we had the opportunity to train during the day and different things. It was one of the first full-time dojos that was about in those days, and I mean, you could have anything from 50 to 90 people on a class. You know, that's extraordinary to think of that now, but
Yeah.
those are the sort of numbers, and I found it fascinating to start with. I was intrigued by it all. There was a sort of mystique to it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And you didn't want to miss a class. You was afraid to miss a class because you thought you might miss out on something. And it just engaged me. And then as time went on, it's always been there for me. It's always such a steadfast and crucial thing in my life.
Okay. So another question that I always ask, and you probably know that what I'm going to ask because you're doing the seminars with me supporting mental health. What impact had or has karate for your mental health?
Well, as I said, it's always been there for me. It's like an anchor, and it's wholesome. It's good. It engages me. I can't do things like crossword puzzles or anything like that. But you have to have something that keeps your mind active. That there's something within karate which is always engaging, and it occupies your thoughts in in a very positive way. I've been through, like everybody, I've been through life. I've had some knocks and some bad times and that, but karate's always sustained me. It's always been there, and it's a relief from the mundane as well.
So why Shotokan? I know that you're cross training with different people. You're going still and learning. What keeps you with the Shotokan? And then maybe tell us, how did you manage or decided to do adaptive karate and change things to your own way?
Well, I started with Shotokan, and I was with it for many years, and it was very classical sort of Shotokan. It was with the PUGB, which was directly through the JKA, the Japanese Karate Association. So it was straightforward Shotokan as you had some problems, I said.
Yeah, well, wife is with her, but I hope.
There was always, I always felt like there was something that there wasn't absolutely quite karate, if you know what I mean. And I coined the phrase adaptive karate many years ago, because I realised that the Shotokan, as was being taught, for it to work on a street level, needed to be adaptive. It needed to. Your techniques needed to change. Of course, you found out the hard way working on the doors that it wasn't quite the way that it was being taught. Having said that, we were taught well and taught very strong basics, and as I say, I stuck with it for many years. But a few years back, I started to look at things in a different light, and knew that it needed to change for me, because it was sports based, but I was done with the sport. I retired from the sport, and although I enjoyed it thoroughly, it's not something that you can go into later life with and feel that it's right for you. You know, as you get older, your karate needs to change. It needs to adapt, and your training methods need to change. The sort of training that we used to do is very intense and very energetic, and you can't work at that sort of pace and be fulfilled the way that I am now with the sort of karate that I'm doing now. So, you know, I no longer do Shotokan. I do karate. I'm not style centric as such. You know, I train in not regularly, but quite a bit in Goju now. You know, the katas that we do, I've taken on some of the Goju katas, and katas from one or two other styles as well. We tend to look at as well. So
I think it is kind of when you develop yourself as a martial artist, you're starting to lose that attachment to a style. I don't feel that I'm doing any styles. I'm based on my teacher system, but it's not as it was taught to me. It's a lot of changes, and you know, meeting people like yourself and others, you kind of adapt. I think you've got the very accurate name for that process.
Yeah, and I look at people that are doing pure Shotokan now, and I'm not convinced. You know, I'm not going to name any names, but I look at them, and they're telling you that these things, this is the way that it should work, and I'm not convinced. It's you know, to go down that purist route that a lot of people do, and they stick with it, and that's fine. That's fine, just as long as they're honest about what they're doing, and that, you know, it's a personal thing. Karate is. Forget about the big classes and all the rest of it. It's a personal thing, and you've got to develop and look at things on an individual basis, not as a conglomerate, big association type thing.
I like that. I like that. Tell me, because what I always enjoy training with you is the sense of humor. What role in your teaching got the sense of humor? Because that's kind of related into my view of mental health and how the sessions should look like. Are you using that sense of humor as well during the class, or is it just reserved for a special occasion like seminars?
No, I mean, our regular classes, we're allowed to talk to each other. You know, so the sort of regime that we used to be in, it was just shut up and train. You wasn't allowed to talk. But now, you know, we talk to each other. We have feedback about what we do. We discuss things, and you know, we're serious, but at the same time, you have to have that humour there, because when you're in that sort of regime where you're not allowed to talk and you just got to do things when you're told, it's not really the way that people need to learn. You know, when you're feeling relaxed and confident about stuff, you learn so much easier and so much better. You know.
Yeah, I do believe that's firmly as well. That's why I changed all the procedures in my dojo, and I'll be following the happy life and relaxed learning. I think the people, like you said, learning much better, much quicker. So you are a hardcore bouncer doing karate. You can handle yourself, and then tell me, how did that occur that you are involved in working with the most vulnerable people around? You're spending so much time. I'm totally blown away by your work with people, with vulnerable people. Can you tell us about it? How that transformation went from the tough bouncer to a nice, cuddly teacher in a friendly environment?
Well, I mean, it was by accident that I went into bouncing. It was a time when there wasn't much work about, and there was a club opened up. I had the opportunity to start working on the door to earn some extra money. It's as simple as that. And I was there for a few years, and I went from working a couple of nights to working full time to head doorman position, and but that doesn't define me. I mean, I haven't done that for years. Once I left that job, that was it. That was finished with. That was an episode in my life over and done with. But you know, and I don't want to make it sound like it's cliche, but karate's given me so much, and it's my way of giving something back to the community, something which is one of the mainstays of karate. That it is for not, as I say, it's an individual endeavour, but at the same time, we all have a sort of social responsibility, and this is my way of providing that, just the way that I do it, and the people that I work with, they seem to enjoy it. Well, I know they enjoy it. I really do, and I enjoy it. We have a great time. We have lots of laughs. it helps with their self-esteem, helps to boost them and that. And again, comes back to this thing about karate can be very, very wholesome, very provides such a good, stable, positive environment for people.
So was that your conscious decision, or a bit of it by accident? You done it on purpose, or?
Quite a few. I mean, I've been trying to do things with people for quite some time, and I struggled initially, making inroads and getting in touch with the right type of people. I just felt that karate could provide something for people with learning disabilities and physical disabilities, which is outside of their sort of normal range of being able to engage in an activity. But with karate, you know, the people that we work with, they couldn't go out and play football or anything like that. Some can, but a majority of them can't. And so they've always been outside of things, but karate can give them something which they're able to obtain, which they're able to engage with, which, you know, which keeps them inclusive within an activity. And we cater for their abilities, not their disabilities.
Mm. Could you tell me more about how do you prepare for classes with such a wide range of different disabilities? I know how I'm preparing because I'm working with disabled as well, and we've got such a wide range of people with different abilities. Are you treating the program as a one whole, or are you taking that very specific to individual and try to fulfill their abilities?
We usually do some activity where we do it as a group, but then we always work with people individually, and you tend to think about karate as like with a normal class. Well, there's no point in doing it like a normal class. I don't feel anyway, and so we'll call people out and work individually, and as you get to know them, you get to understand what motivates them, what sort of things they like, and you just got to encourage them and cater to those needs. So, you know, if it's a small class, then we spend quite a long time with people as individuals. If it's a bigger class, then we haven't got quite so long, but everybody gets some individual tuition and some individual attention, and that. And the nice thing is, when you are working with somebody as an individual, normally the other people are supporting them as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they can't wait for their turn. They're all looking forward to coming out in front and you know, showing their friends what they can do, and it's great to see it, you know. Yeah.
Did you notice the positive outcomes? Are the people more mobile, better feeling? You say that they feel better, so that's kind of obvious. But what positives did you notice after? Because you're doing that for several years now, I believe.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because you've got to realise that a lot of these people, their normal activity during the day, although they will go out and do different things depending on who the group is, but a lot of their activity is sitting about. Mm-hmm. So it's very sedentary. They tend to eat too much, so that's not always good for their health. And once we do start working with them, then they find that they've got more mobility than they thought they had. They're able to achieve more, and so they start looking at doing other things. You know, we know that some were very sort of reluctant to do anything else, but once they found that they was doing karate, then they started taking things like swimming up, things like that. You know, because they started to have a confidence about that they were able to do other things. I'll tell you a little story about one guy, shall I?
Yeah, looking forward.
This was a couple of years ago. I haven't seen him for quite some time. A group we were working with. He used to come into the room. He was about 6'3", very tall, very skinny. Used to wear a skull cap in case he fell over. He often used to have a teddy with him. He was a lad he was about 19, I think he was at the time, and he used to carry his teddy with him. Initially, it was very hard to get him to do anything, but over a period of time, we got him up, and he used to work on the pads with me, and he used to love it. You know, we used to be dancing around the room, and I'd have the pads, and he would be having a good go at them. And halfway through the lesson, we used to have a break, and they used to get some juice and some biscuits out for the guys. And I sat down with the juice, and he came and sat next to me. He had his juice and he had his biscuits, and he was drinking his juice and having his biscuits and that. And he kept looking at me and giving me a nudge and smiling at me. Afterwards, after the session had finished, his carer came up to me and she said, "What did you do with so-and-so?" And I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "He would never eat or drink in front of anybody apart from his mum and dad."
Wow.
So it's just a nice story that the fact that I've been able to help him with his confidence, with his self-esteem, and the fact that he was willing, after a short period of time, to engage with me and that, because he never used to speak to anybody, but he always used to sort of, when I was counting and that, he would count along with me. Now he'd never spoken to anybody or anything, so little by little, we just boosted his confidence, his self-esteem, and it was great to see him working that way as well.
Yeah, I've got a similar student, Danny. I think you met him on maybe you didn't. No, he's not coming with us for seminars. But yeah, when he came, he wouldn't train without his brother and mom, and now he's able to go with us for like displays where there's 200 people, and he's autistic, and there's no problem, and he's taking up new activities, which is great. It was great for him, and he's more confident in himself. So I kind of can imagine how you're feeling about that success. And which I'm finding with my classes, and I want to check with you as well, is that you get through to people who are vulnerable only via honesty. So you cannot pretend to be somebody else like a big sensei. You have to show them your vulnerabilities and be honest. They've got like a sixth sense. They just straight away know if you're full of, pardon me, full of BS or you're honest. Do you've got that as well? Do you think that's true?
Yeah, definitely. You know, because some of these guys are really funny, you know, and they are honest, and the things they say to you and everything, you've just got to take it with a pinch of salt, and that you can't put on airs and graces with them. They won't allow you to. Having said that, they do understand the discipline of the class. You know, They don't mess about in the class, but in the same regard that I said before, we have to have a laugh. We always have a laugh, and that, because, as I say, they don't want to feel like they're being forced into anything. It's about gentle encouragement most of the time with them. Their perception of how things should go is different to a lot of people, and you've got to recognise that and work accordingly. But you're very correct in the fact that you have to be honest with them. You know, you have to be straightforward. Yeah.
Tell me, because I'm kind of running up, so I'm working with some charities at the moment, but I try to move on forward and do more. What would be your advice to people who would like to try to get involved in that kind of paying back to community? Where should they start? Who should they contact? Do you've got any recipe, or it just keep going till you find somebody?
It's a lot depends on everybody's personal circumstance. If they've got time during the day, which is the better time rather than an evening class, because most of these guys have to have carers with them. There's several avenues that you can go down. You can approach schools with who cater for people with special needs. There's various groups, and the bigger groups, which are well organised groups, which often work in community centres and places like that. Just approach them. I mean, one of the groups that we work with, Chesterfield, when we went there, we sort of looked at them and thought, oh, these will never be able to do anything. They had a wide range of disabilities, physical, and a wide range of learning disabilities. And they were great, you know. You just got to approach some of these groups, possibly give them a free lesson. It's about learning on the job as well. You have to find your own way of working with people, and just keep persevering. And you'll find that the worst thing is if there's any money involved, is having it sustainable. Mm-hmm. So if you are charging a fee, it's making sure that fee is sustainable. Here's the cat. Just one of them. So that's often a problem, is making sure that there's enough funds to keep the group going. If you're doing it on just a voluntary basis, then that isn't so much of a problem. But I'm trying to give out the right advice here. So if you are charging a fee, the worst thing that can happen is that there's an initial thing where it's taken up, and you'll do 6 or 7 lessons, and then there comes a cut-off point. Mm-hmm. That's no good for these people. You know, that a lot of them are creatures of habit, and they like to do things on a particular day at a particular time, and they expect. I mean, it's terrible for them at the moment, because their routine is spoilt, and you have to become part of that routine. You know, they're all there waiting for you at the given time when you're supposed to turn up, and so you've got to be there, and keeping it sustained that's the difficult part, you know. Some of the groups we've been with now, we've been with them for several years, and it's part of their life now. It's a feature in their life, a major feature, you know.
Yeah, when I'm starting tomorrow with one of my groups, we're gonna do it outside of the building. So hopefully we're gonna start getting back to and you as well in September, and see how that's gonna happen. Okay, as the plan for this podcast was to speak to you and your partner Elaine, which is a brilliant teacher as well, but Elaine is too shy. So I'm gonna ask you the questions. So think about it carefully, so you don't gonna be told off later by Elaine. Okay. Because the main topic meant to be, I'm doing a series of martial art marriage. So the partners who are doing both martial arts and both karate. So if I can pick how it is to be a partner with the person who does martial arts, and you're teaching together, you're running a business together. Could you tell me, how did you met? Did the karate have a part in it, or?
No, we met at a party a few years back now, and we just hit it off from there. She did tell me at the time when we met that, of course, the conversation got round and that, yes, I do karate, I've got my club, and you know, you things. And she said, "Oh, I'm a brown belt." She was a first Q in Wadaroo.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't hold that against her. But yeah, she'd been training in Wadaroo for about 11 years when I met her. Wasn't trained at the time, and then when things started getting serious and that, I said to her, you know, if we're going to be together, we've got to make a decision. And
Shotokan or Wado?
Well, no, you know, either you've got to do country with me, or I'll pack up. Because it has always been a bone of contention in other relationships, and that oh, you're going training again, and you start getting the earache and everything, and she said, "No, I'll do karate with you." It was a bit of a shocker for her once she started doing Shotokan, because she'd been to see a couple of classes, and she believed that Wadaroo was the better style. But then when she started training in Shotokan, started incorporating the different body mechanics and that, it changed a point of view, and it captivated her once she'd gotten over the initial shock of it. Yeah. And yeah, you know, we're the sort of couple, we do everything together, and you know, it's great to be able to say, right, go in training, and your wife comes with you, instead of whinging and moaning about you going off and leaving.
That's a big positive, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've got a question from my wife. I had to read it out because I can't remember what she said. She's a martial artist as well, so we kind of been thinking what questions to ask. And she said, "Do you think it helps your karate development by having a partner who you can discuss karate with, or is it a cause of argument?" In our house, it's sometimes a cause of arguments because she's doing different style than I do as well. So different points of view. How does it look like in yours?
No, we're fairly much on the same page about most things. There are sometimes when because I've got more experience, Elaine takes a certain point of view, and then I have to explain that there is a different point of view, from a different perspective, and that I don't think we've ever argued about martial arts as such. Usually she comes around to my way of thinking. That's not because I'm bigger, it's just I'm more persuasive, possibly. I don't know.
So I was going to ask that to Elaine, but I'm going to ask you, what do you think about the female teachers in martial arts, or rather lack of? How we can change that and improve the ratio between the male and female teachers in the clubs, or club owners running a club?
Again, it depends on the circumstances of the club. I think there's quite a few really good female teachers about these days. It used to be very male dominated, and you know, it was like a boys' club at one time. For a female to break into that, they had to be particularly tough, and you know, the sort of training that was done wasn't really conducive to the female. But things have changed. Things are so much better for the female. And as I say, there are some really good female instructors, and you know, that they're not only heading up their clubs, they're prominent in the associations and different things as well now, and they do bring a different perspective to the training as well, and a different understanding, depending on what type of training you're doing. But if it's coming down to self-defense, their point of view and their experiences are invaluable to understand what it is that you should be teaching and what they need to be teaching as well. You know, the differences between the physicality of male and female, and the psychology that goes along with that. Yeah,
I think that's what we need to be more popularized, because we as a man, we can only imagine how it is to be a woman, or how they're going through this, and self-defense is kind of a gray area where we think what it should be done, but we don't know how they're gonna do it, isn't it?
Yeah, and you know, it's a hard subject for me to talk about without insulting certain people as well. But the females bring a different reality to self-defense, because most females that have been that are doing martial arts have been in situations which you can't, as a male, you can't understand the psychology and everything which goes along with a difficult situation. And of course, they understand about the physicality and that, and to actually teach and express it in a correct form is quite a difficult subject, and you need that female perspective to be able to understand and do that. Yeah.
Something a bit more lighter. What's the favorite movie, martial art movie for John?
Oh, do you know what? I very rarely watch anything sort of martial art movie these days because it seems so sort of superficial now. You know, I mean, I love Bruce Lee and everything, and I look back at some of the things and that, and I think, nah, it just doesn't gel with me anymore. I mean, if I look back, some of the first sort of martial arts movies that I can think of, or that had martial arts in them, was I think it was a Man Like Flint.
Don't ask me. I'm too young for that. I think.
And Frank Sinatra was in a film called The Manchurian Candidate, and he did a little bit of martial arts in that. And I found, at the time, I thought that was brilliant. I found it fascinating. I see it now and I think, it's terrible. So I couldn't say I've got a favourite one anymore.
Okay, that's an interesting answer. So which teacher mostly influenced you through your life? You've got a vast knowledge. Who had the biggest impact on you in your martial arts? It can be few people if you want to mention anybody.
I mean, over the years, there's been so many people, and I've trained with some great instructors. If I go back to my early days, I was with Rick Jackson, who's still teaching and training these days. That's who I started karate with, and later Kawazoe Sensei. We spent a lot of time with him, but coming up to today, I mean, I go training on a regular basis with Steve Lowe. Mm-hmm. Very knowledgeable, and his study of karate is he's always, whatever he's teaching, his study is 2 years ahead of that. Mm-hmm. So everything's been looked at and tried and tested. As you know, I work with Simon Oliver quite a lot, and I love to go to his classes. I go very occasionally, not all that often, train with Peter Considine, and that's always inspirational. And there's just so many people. I mean, I go and train with Max Bedrow quite regularly. They've all got something to offer. I wouldn't say one is more dominant than the other in what it is that they're teaching. I just really enjoy my training and looking to train with these other people. And you know, if I made a list out of all the people I've trained with over the last couple of years, it's quite a long list.
Yeah.
And you know, you pick up bits from all of them. They all have an influence. Even some of the bad ones have an influence, because it teaches you that you don't want to be like that.
Yeah. So you've training for, you said, nearly 50 years in martial arts. How to keep the motivation going? What do you do that it still drives you to do that? Go to that gym, go to that dojo, go and learn. Especially maybe not so much to do, but still learn. You know a lot of stuff. You've got that experience. Why still searching? how that translate to your training, and how do you look for that motivation? What motivates you?
Part of it is it's a discipline, and you know, if you engage in an endeavor like karate, you have to understand that there's a discipline, and it's so easy to make an excuse. That's the easiest thing in the world, isn't it? Make an excuse. You haven't got to let yourself do that. You know, sometimes you don't quite feel right, or you know, you not major injury, but you got a minor injury, and that you go, oh, I'm not going training because of such and such. No, you just do it. You just got to do it, and it's about pushing yourself. It's really motivation's a really hard thing to achieve, but if you don't do it, you'll lose. You'll lose out. You'll lose out in many ways, and I'm trying to find the right sort of words to express myself. That's part of my problem. I've got the thoughts up here, but
I know the feeling, John. I know the feeling. I'm the same.
But it's part and parcel of what you do, and you've just got to keep doing it. And the other thing is, it's been mentioned about honesty. You have to be honest with yourself. You know, you can kid other people, but you can't kid yourself. You have to be honest with yourself, and so you can't say you're a martial artist and just go and teach a couple of times a week. And that's no. You have to be honest enough to say, I'm still a student. I'm still learning. There's loads of things that I should know. And you know, I think, oh, I wish I'd have taken that up, or I wish I'd have done that years ago. But the thing is that you're doing it now, and you just got to keep doing it, and you just got to keep learning, and you just got to keep that endeavor going. Yeah.
Excellent. Tell me, John, because we done this year, we couldn't do the karate for mental health. You're a great supporter of that. I kind of feel that we're doing it together, not just me. What are your future plans for seminars when we go back to normal? Because you do teach quite a lot, don't you?
Yeah. Obviously, I've had quite a lot cancelled over the last few months. People are starting to rebook. We're hoping. I'm looking at my calendar now. I've got quite a few booked in, and the positive thing is that over this period where we haven't been training as a club, and I've had more time. I've been working on the content of the seminars, and I think that people are going to really enjoy the sort of stuff that I'm going to be doing. But hopefully, over the next couple of months, I think we'll be able to get back into some sort of normality if there isn't a further spike and further lockdowns or anything. I think that we'll have to get back together. I don't think you can do karate unless you can do the partner work.
Mm-hmm.
You can do certain stuff. I don't know. I've done nothing online. I don't think that's the way forward for myself and the guys that I work with. You know, it's sort of. I think I put something out a while ago, and that, you know, doing karate without a partner is like learning to swim out of water.
Mm.
You know, the theory is there, and there's a certain practicality to it, but you'll never know whether you're going to drown or not, will you?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm struggling as well. I do 2 sessions a week, and I just because most what we do is partner work. So just teaching over Zoom, I don't feel comfortable. I don't think people get enough quality from it. But they want me to teach, so I teach some katas and thinking about it. And but it's not the best medium to do it. I don't feel that is the best thing to do.
I've looked at a lot of people. And the only person that I can see doing anything online of any value is Paul Enfield. When I look at the stuff that he's teaching and the way that he's teaching, I find value in that. A lot of the other people that I've seen, and that I can't say that I disagree with what they're doing, but if it's just a fitness session you want, there's better ways of getting fit than doing the sort of things that they're doing. You know.
Yeah. I think it's a good way from my point of view. It's a good way to keep that club together and get a bit of exposure. But I'm not enjoying it as much as I enjoy teaching, you know, hand to hand and with the people. John, tell me when people can find you to book you for seminars if they want to, or ask you about questions about the disability part of what you're doing.
Well, they can get in touch with me through Facebook, which is John Johnston Adaptive Karate. I've just got the website back up and running now. We had a problem with it. Somebody stole our domain name and various things went on, but it's Adaptive Karate .uk.
.co.uk, isn't it?
Yeah.
I post the links in the description as well, so the people who listen can have a read and click on it. John, thank you very much for your time. It was awesome to speak to you. I'm looking forward to get back to the seminars with you and pick your knowledge about the disability karate, so I can learn a bit more about it and improve my way of doing. I hope you enjoyed the interview as well.
Yeah, I enjoyed the interview. I don't think I come across the way that I'd like to. I'm not so good at public speaking as such. I'm okay on the seminars, telling my jokes and things, but
I think it was brilliant, John. I've got the same feeling. I don't like my voice. I don't like my looks. And I never think that I came clear across what I meant to say. I always come the wrong way. But I think you've done a great job.
Cheers, Les. It's great speaking to you. All right. Take care.
Okay.
Goodbye, everybody. Okay.
Bye-bye.